talking financial matters. Now, this is a simple question, okay? Simple question, whether it's Australia, America, or UK. When should a person consider bankruptcy as opposed to trying to work on paying it back? Now, the tricky thing is, in America, in some states in America, you can go bankrupt but retain your house.
Yeah,
it's
a different situation in Australia.
It's very different, but
because and there's people that do that, go bankrupt, retain the house, and they get around not paying bills and stuff.
Well, for whatever reason,
but it's not in all the states. It's only in some states.
So tell me this, but ignoring that, we're not trying to scam anyone.
No.
When you had your business as accountancy, when would you say to someone, how do you make the assessment? Look, you really should fucking go bankrupt, or let's work out a payment plan. Let's see if we can deal with the creditors. How did you make what was the deciding factor?
Well, there's two. I suppose you look at your income and expenses. That's the important part. But the before that, you say, right here, what's your assets and liabilities? What have you got? So if you've got assets worth $5,000 and liabilities worth $60,000, well, you can't sell anything and clear those debts. A lot of people have got, say, in Australia, a house. Yeah. So with the house, you can sell the house, clear the mortgage, and then you got extra money, surplus money. Sure. So that surplus money can be used to clear your debts. But if you're in a position where, like one of my clients he bought a house for $500,000 and he borrowed $400,000. And now that house is worth $250,000.
That's quite common in America. They have a lot of that in America as well.
So the house is now worth $250,000 because of change in the economic situation of the city. So now it's worth a sweet nothing. It's worth $250,000. He can't rent it because there's a lot of vacant houses. It's a beautiful, brand new house, beautiful house. So what do you do? Well, if that's all the only asset he's got, he'll never be able to get out from there. And even if he does, the bank can change their mind at any moment.
Can they change their mind?
Yeah, the bank will say, yeah.
Well, as long as you're making the payments.
Well, if you make the payments, they'll let you sit there. Yeah.
Can he make the payments on $400,000?
No, well, he can't. This fellow can't. He's considering bankruptcy, but he's got other assets. He's got another house. If he sold everything, he comes out at zero. But
what a financial mistake.
Yeah,
that's bad to come out at zero.
Well, it's even worse coming out at minus 250,000.
So I see.
So if you're at minus 250,000, when you declare yourself bankrupt, then your debts are wiped off. The receiver, the person in the bankruptcy situation, here comes the government official, he takes your assets, he sells it at the best possible price, and that's another problem because you get a better price yourself than what they do, because you put more effort into it, perhaps. But so he sells it at the best possible price, reduces the debt, and then you got a residual debt, and then that's also the bank. May not agree to that, but it normally would.
So tell me this: in Australia, is super? If you've got money in your super,
I think superannuation is protected.
But I think if you put extra contributions, is that?
Yeah. Well, I think
it's tricky. It's tricky.
It's tricky. Superannuation money.
Does bankruptcy get rid of a HEX debt?
No, the HEX debt still even a tax debt. I've seen situations
that's
where
like a student loan. Debt, like
I've seen a tax debt where the person is bankrupt, so that all the debts are gone. Then he starts working, whatever. The tax department says, "Well, let's have the money. That you owe us the money."
How much do they owe?
Oh, 10,000, 20,000.
Oh, I see.
So sometimes the tax department's reasonable. They write things off, but they don't want to be taken for a ride. It's their job to collect taxes and. So if they collect taxes from these guys, other people can therefore obviously pay less taxes because you only need a certain amount of revenue.
I see what you're saying.
But back to the original question: when did you consider bankruptcy? Well, you look at your assets and liabilities, see how much more do you owe than what you've got.
I see.
And if it's say $1 million you owe and your assets are worth $100,000, well, you'll never really get out from that situation unless you've got a very an income earning capacity,
I
and even if
see.
you did have an income earning capacity, by the time you pay your taxes, there's not much left to reduce that debt either.
No.
So, and what's the debt for? So, if you're in a really out of balance situation, you declare yourself bankrupt. But bankruptcy is a problem because you can't borrow, you can't do certain things.
Can you leave the country?
I think you can't even leave the country.
Yeah.
They take your passport because they don't want you fleeing.
Yeah.
But so it used to be that you stay bankrupt for 3 years, then you apply for discharge, and if nobody
Yes.
objects, you discharge and you start again. But you think about it, for 3 years you're in limbo land. You're just working and just eating, which I suppose most family people do. But you're just looking after yourself in very simple situation. You're not flying around and enjoying luxury life. You're just meeting your commitments, and you can't have a rich car. You have only a modest car. You've got your tools. They don't take your tools away if you're a tradesman. But it's not really good, rich lifestyle. You haven't got much left, and you probably lost your job anyway in this whole bankruptcy situation.
I mean, often the problem with bankruptcy is it's been like a business. People have a business,
and that's failed.
And the business has failed, so they've got virtually no income.
Yeah.
They've got massive liabilities, and
so I think
What sort of figure would you say to someone? Okay, let's look at this a different aspect. If, say, a 25-year-old owed 30,000, would it be worth considering bankruptcy over that? Or generally speaking, what amount of money is worth the 3 years of pain?
It's interesting, isn't it? 30,000 is not a very high debt, really.
Well, that's what the average person goes bankrupt at. It's about 20 to 30,000 in Australia.
Well, it's also a lot of money. How do you save 30,000 if you
don't have it?
If you haven't got it, and if your job prospects are not very good, and you've got three kids, and your wife's going to run away, and it's hard. So I think just going away from that a little bit is saying it's best. I think it's best not to be bankrupt. It's best to try and get out of your mess, because if you're not bankrupt, there's more avenues what you can do. You can borrow. You can travel, you can do everything, but if you're in such a mess that you can't get under, and that guy who was at zero, that we were talking about before, where he's lost $250,000 on a house in a place called Emerald, because of the change in the mining situation.
Industry,
he still is only. All his assets is at zero, and his wife.
And that's the thing. These real estate spruikers at the time were saying, "This is the next big thing to take off. It'll get bigger and better. Get in quick." Well, where have those fuckers gone?
Well, if he was, say, 40, and I think if he can hang on for 10 years,
it might go up again.
It might go up again and double again, because the mining boom might come back. The one coal or whatever's being mined out there, iron ore, well, coal there.
But it really hurts when you've lost so much money, doesn't it?
It hurts a lot, yeah. And
is he gutted by it or not?
Well, he wouldn't be too bad, but then his wife says, "Look, I don't love you anymore because you can't pay for me to go back home." Where he's from.
She's Asian or what?
Yeah, Guatemala.
What the fuck is that?
One that's near South America. So she's it's like Nicaragua up there. This country. So she wants to go home. She wants to have a bit of a life, and she's got a mortgage attached to her with in Australia you sign a mortgage, so you're personally liable. Well, first of all, they can take your assets, and after they sell your assets, attached in that mortgage there's a clause saying you're also personally liable, so they can sue you under the guarantee on that mortgage. So the bank can do a lot of things, but if you can't live, and if your expenses exceed your income, and just imagine this situation with him, he can't rent, so he's got to meet payments of say $1,000 a month on the mortgage. But he's got no income.
But the other option is that why can't he say, okay, I've made a fuck up, right?
Yeah.
How about I move into this new house?
Where?
In Emerald.
Because there's no work, he's a painter.
Let me just pretend, okay? He moves there, right?
Yeah. They can both move there.
His house in Brisbane is paid off, is it?
No, it's got debts on too.
Oh, it's got debts too.
Yeah, and his brother's living there for free.
Oh, fuck. So,
And he's got a kid, a child.
how old is he?
He's the guy that painted your house. Is approximately 50.
Fuck.
50 years old.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's just life. Australia can't be responsible for his bad choices, can it? Fuck.
Well, he was doing well. Everything, he was on the right track. He bought an investment house, which is a good decision normally, because his wife wanted to do that. She said, "Look, you have to buy an investment house. This is how we make money," and that's true. The trouble is, he bought in the wrong place, but
it seemed like the right place at the
wrong
time. He
time.
didn't have enough money to buy in Brisbane. Or you dispute that?
No. Well, he paid $500,000 for it. It was built. He bought a block of land and built, so it was $500,000. You can buy a house in Forest Lake for $350,000. So, but no, this was. He took the chance that because the mining boom was on in the town.
He'd get big returns.
That he'd buy it for 500 and sell for 700. That's what he was looking
and
at.
it fucking went bad.
And it went the other way. It's a bit
Fuck.
It's a bit like the Gold Coast here in Brisbane. You know, you bought at the peak.
Yeah.
The financial crisis came. You had a 40% downfall.
Yeah.
Everything went down 40%.
No, that's fair enough.
That's what happened to him.
A fool and his money.
Well, he's not really a fool. He took the wrong decision. He wasn't really foolish. I think, in one sense, he was wise. He took a risk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
sometimes the risks don't pay off.
And the risks don't pay off.
Sometimes that's just life.
Yeah.
There is no fucking fairness in this world. You could have been born in Africa. You could have been born in India. Is that fair too?
No.
Is that fair?
It's exactly the situation that that's what life's all about. And,
sometimes you pays dirt.
He took the wrong decision. I think
It's funny how these women that their love for you seems to wane when your financial position seems to hit the shitter.
Yeah. So if you want a adoring wife,
have money.
It does help to have a lot of money.
That's it.